Hey everybody, so today I'm going to do another painting. I was in the mood. I had so much fun with the last one, the Tolarian Magic the Gathering card, that I decided to do another one. This time I'm starting right in Photoshop, skipping Sketchbook, because in this exercise I just want to paint the values right away. I don't want to do any line art. I'm just going to sort of do the composition directly with paint. There was a little skip there because I forgot to resume the recording, which happens when you get sort of lost in a project. So this one is going to be yet another Magic the Gathering card, but instead I picked this time I picked another YouTuber who is a big Magic the Gathering player. Very famous YouTuber. If you follow anything with games, video games or anything like that, you've probably come across his videos. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to make him a card as well. I'm going to print this off just like I did with Tolarian, who tweeted the painting that I made him, that I sent him, which was really nice. So anyway, for this guy, if you don't know who he is, then you don't know who he is. But for those of you who do watch gaming videos, you probably know who this guy is. I'm trying to make it look like him. Again, I'm not great at likeness. The only thing I'm using for reference in this entire painting is just a picture of him I found online, yelling. He does have a character that he does called Francis, who yells and complains a lot about video games in a sort of like a nerdy manner, I guess you can say. I don't know. He's playing like a stereotypical gamer type of thing. He is overweight, and he talks a lot about that in his video. And it is really disheartening when you keep seeing the haters, I guess you would call them. That's what the kids call them nowadays. People who just send him really nasty messages, and I don't think it's fair because he seems like a really great good guy. And I don't think it's fair. So in this card, I am going to give him, because Magic the Gathering, if you don't know, if you didn't watch the other video or you don't know anything about Magic the Gathering, it's a trading card game, and it's fantasy based. It has all these monsters and creatures and super power-ups and stuff. Well, not power-ups, but super duper creatures in a fantasy themed game. So I decided to make him this giant god monster kind of guy. I don't know, because he is a big guy. And he's blasting his haters away. So right now I painted in the foreground, kind of experimented. You can't see it really right now, but I sort of scribbled some people at the bottom. So he's going to be blasting his haters with his magical powers, which in this case would be his character Francis, who yells a lot. So he's going to do this sonic yell hater kind of boom or so, I don't know, yelling weapon, I guess. And right here I'm fixing up his glasses, or trying to, because it's really the thing about painting glasses, it has to be perfectly symmetrical. And you could just create, like in Sketchbook Pro, for example, you could do symmetrical drawings where one side will match the other side. And you can do that in Photoshop as well by just creating both lenses and putting them side by side and then applying it. Usually I try to avoid any kind of digital tricks like that, copy paste. But in this painting, I didn't want to spend a whole bunch of time on it. I just had the idea in my head and I just ran with it. Here I'm experimenting with how it would look like if there was a guy being torn apart by his sonic yell, his magical power here. And I was going back and forth with it. How would the light work? And I did want light emanating from one of his haters being destroyed. And I also put little bits there of him flying apart. But I thought that was a bit too violent for Boogie. I just gave away his name. Boogie. Okay, his name's Boogie. So it was a bit violent for him. So I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm not going to tear apart anybody. He's just going to destroy the haters. So here's one hater, the foreground. There's going to be haters in the background, but here's the foreground hater who is going to receive the brunt of the magic spell. And that's what you use in Magic the Gathering. It's a game about two wizards, you and another player. You're both sorcerers, and you're trying to deal each other damage through spells, and that's what the cards are. So anyway, I'm making... And the nice thing about Magic the Gathering is that all the artwork is gorgeous, and it's fun, and it's, again, fantasy-based. And they hire these really talented artists to create these wonderful images. And that's one thing that got me into it was the artwork. I've always appreciated the artwork of Magic the Gathering. Even though I never really played it, so I've seen it played forever, but I just never got into it, and I just recently did. That's why I did the Tolarian card in the previous video. So here I'm just creating a valley of all his haters. They're all running. And I am going to do that sort of explosion thing. I'm just not going to tear him apart because I don't think that's something Boogie would do. So he's on this sort of cliff here, our main guy, and he's being torn apart, but without literally tearing apart. So I like that glow from the other experiment that I did. And one thing I think at this point of the painting, as I was painting, I realized, I go, this is very mono blue. And towards the end here, as I'm doing all these electrodes that are reminiscent of Raiders of the Lost Ark, when the electric beams passed through everybody, all the Nazis in the movie. That's sort of what's happening here. So here I'm fixing up his glasses, making it a bit more symmetrical, and patching up any kind of movement or any kind of errors I did in the eye. So here I am adding more color because I really didn't like just that flat blue. It needed to be punched up a bit more. So because the primary color of the painting was blue, the complementary color to blue is, of course, yellow or orange or something along that end of the spectrum. So I decided, you know what, there should be some sort of moonlight. Maybe it's an orange moon, I don't know, in this night scene, and it's casting some orange light on at least one side of his face. I was thinking of doing both, but I think it would have been overkill. So I just kept it on one side of his face. Right now I'm just cleaning it up, seeing I'm working on a new layer. Again, I don't tend to do these things in Photoshop. I don't tend to utilize Photoshop because growing up, my painting experience was layering, and you can't undo anything. So I just got so used to that, and that's usually how I paint, even digitally. But now, I'm getting more and more into the practice of saying, hey, you know what? It's digital for a reason. Definitely exploit all the digital tricks you can do to make it easier. So now I'm just touching things up. I like the color, and the sky is bothering me at this point, I think. I'm trying to highlight his fingers properly here, but again, I don't want to spend a lot of time. I am happy with the product so far. And here I am adding some clouds in the background and experimenting with how much light should be emanating from that left side. So, and this is pretty much it. This is the last step that I went through, and now I'm just, there you go. So I'm adding that light source, which gives it more dynamic feel. I'm also popping up the colors, mixing it up, not just keeping it blue, and a little bit more highlighting, and that was pretty much it. Oh, the glow coming from the guy. It's an intense power, and that is pretty much it. Don't know what I'm doing. Oh, because there is orange light coming from the left side, I decided, well, the light should be casting on the side of these mountains in this canyon on the right-hand side. And that is pretty much it. After I do this, here it is, the final painting. I really like the tertiary color that came in there, which seems to be a green, but that was just by accident. And here is the card. He's a hater destroyer. He costs 7 mana to cast. That's the symbols in the top right. Hey, he is Boogie2988, and when hater destroyer enters the battlefield, just like Tolarian, he gets 45. All of his creatures get 45 +1/+1 counters. He sends all of his haters to the graveyard, and his power and toughness is equal to the amount of YouTube subscribers he has, which is quite a lot. So anyway, I hope you liked this video, and I will see you in the next video.